crazy, busy world out there, isn't it? But you're here to relax and learn with the Medical Sales Guru podcast and the Medical Sales channel. My name is Mace Haroff. You know what's amazing to me? I've been doing this podcast now since 2008. That's 9 years of the Medical Sales Guru podcast. So hopefully you've been along for the ride during those years. If not, where have you been? Well, I'm glad you're here because each week I tackle something that's important to you as a medical sales professional to help you get your products into the hands of more healthcare professionals who can use it to improve the lives and the outcomes for their patients. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Now, if you do that, I think you could feel good about it, don't you? I mean, doing those things for patients is really awesome. That's why you do what you do. This is an amazing industry. You know, the medical device industry, pharmaceutical industry, gets beaten up a lot. Sometimes it's justified. Most of the time it's not, though, because let's think about this. Where would healthcare be without the supplies, the equipment, the devices to support the treatment modalities that are evolving in research every day? And where would the doctors be out there in the community if they didn't have medical sales professionals to bring this knowledge to them? The point is, my friends, is that what you do is very, very important. And you have to feel proud about what you do. Now, not all medical sales reps sound proud about what they do. In fact, if you look at the way they approach their customers, they're almost apologetic for going into a doctor's office or walking into a clinic. I mean, think about this. How many times have you heard a sales rep? In fact, maybe the sales rep that you heard was you, but how many times have you heard a sales rep say, hello, doctor, I really want to thank you for taking some of your valuable time to meet with me today. I know your time is valuable and you have a lot of patients to see and a lot of important things to do. I'm going to be very, very quick because I know you're very, very busy. What does it sound like that sales rep is doing? He's apologizing, or she's apologizing for being in the healthcare professional's presence, for taking some valuable time. What about your time? Let me ask you a question. And I really want you to think about this. Is your time valuable? I mean, you're always talking about how valuable the time is for a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare executive. But again, is your time valuable? I mean, don't you have the same number of hours in a day as they have? Don't you have important things to do? Don't you have a plan that you want to execute, an agenda? Hopefully you do. And there's a lot of customers, there's a lot of prospects you want to get around to because you're trying to affect some level of change that's going to impact their patients. Now, your time is valuable, without question. So instead of, approaching your customers and saying, gee, doc, I know your time is valuable and thank you for your valuable time, why not show the value of your own time as well? Why not say something like, doctor, I'm glad you had a few minutes. I'm glad we both had a few minutes to spend time together today. What I'm going to discuss with you is critically important. What did I just do? I let the doctor know that this isn't just about his time. It's about my time too. And I'm giving some of my valuable time to help him out. He's got to feel that, or she has to feel that. The customer has to believe that you're bringing some level of value to them. It has to be palpable. So often when a sales rep is in front of a customer, he or she, again, sounds apologetic. It's like they don't believe in the value of the product or service they're offering themselves. Let's try to put this in a different perspective. Let's say that you have a friend who's buying a new car. Buying a new car is exciting. It's everybody likes getting a new car. It's a new perspective. You spend almost every day in your car, that new car smell. Most people love that new car smell, except some people I know get a headache from that new car smell. But you have figured out a way. You know the techniques. You have the connections, whatever it is. You can save your friend $2,000 off the price of a new car. Now, $2,000 is significant, isn't it? So when you approach your friend, knowing that you can save him or her $2,000, are you going to be apologetic about it? Are you going to apologize? Are you going to say, hey, Bob, I'm really sorry for calling you today. I know your time is valuable, but I think I could save you some money on a car. I mean, if you got time if you got time to talk about it, and if you don't, I fully understand. I know that, maybe you're a pretty successful guy and saving $2,000 isn't that important to you. You don't try to second guess what your friend Bob is thinking. You don't try to second guess him, right? But yet, so many medical reps, when they're in front of a customer, they're already assuming that the customer isn't going to be interested. The customer isn't going to buy. And the reason for this is because the sales rep doesn't have strong conviction in the value about what he or she is selling. It's crazy, isn't it? If you don't believe in what you're selling, then why the heck would you get out there and sell it? But yet, if you could go to your friend Bob and you could save Bob $2,000, you know that Bob is going to want to save $2,000. And you're going to feel very, very confident. Because do you feel like you're trying to sell Bob on the idea of saving $2,000? No. What person in their right mind, if they're buying a new car, wouldn't want to save $2,000? I mean, $2,000 is a significant amount of money. And this is why you don't apologize when you're offering Bob, for example, a way to do this. You don't apologize because you feel very confident. In fact, you know that Bob's going to want to save the $2,000. And the other thing, you're probably not intimidated by Bob. Bob's a friend. And even if you are a little intimidated by Bob, let's say Bob's a very successful guy. Let's say, he has one of these larger-than-life personalities and can be a little intimidating. But yet you feel very confident because you're approaching Bob about this one thing, and you know that Bob is going to be interested. Why can't you do that with your healthcare professional customers? You see, one thing we know about healthcare professionals, they resist change. We know that about them. And if you've been listening to my content for any period of time, you know that your healthcare professionals, they are spring-loaded to say no. They're looking for a way to say no. Why? Because when they tell a sales rep no, then they don't have to change anything. And this means that they don't have to use a new product. They don't have to go through a learning curve. They don't introduce the element of risk into their lives by doing this. So if they can find a way to say no, it's very easy for them to do. And sales reps often feel this, and this could be very, very intimidating. The other thing that makes sales reps feel very apologetic is they know that they're there to sell something, and they think of sell instead of offering a solution, offering a better way of doing things. You see, when you approach your friend Bob, you're not trying to sell Bob on the idea of saving $2,000. You're just offering him your ability to help him to do that. When you approach your customers, it's the same thing. But this can only work if you have absolute confidence and conviction in the value that you bring to your customers. You know, it's kind of a strange thing, but as a sales professional, medical reps are going out there every day trying to convince prospects and customers to buy something that they don't necessarily believe in themselves. That's a recipe for disaster. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to sell yourself on your value proposition before you ever go out and make a sales call. Before you ever go out and make another sales call. You've already made sales calls, I assume. But before you make your next sales call, really take a look at the product or service that you want to offer your customers and convince yourself of the value. Think about what your customers are using now. Why would they want to consider using your product instead? What is your unique and distinctive value proposition? Yeah, you have to have a rather distinct value proposition, because if you don't, what's the point? Why would a customer consider stopping whatever he or she is using to try something new and different? Just because it's new and different, just because you're selling it, doesn't make a lot of sense. You see, but at the end of the day, if you know your value proposition, then you could be very, very comfortable in approaching your customers to offer them a better way of doing whatever it is that they do. You're not selling anything. You're offering a way to produce a better outcome. You're offering a way to reduce risk. You're offering a way to save time or save money. How can you be uncomfortable when you're doing this great service for a customer? Now, a customer can tell you no. He or she has the right to do that. But make sure that when they tell you no, that they really understand what they're saying no to. It's not just about the product. It's about your ability to really impact them, impact their world, and impact their patients in a bigger way. And if they feel that, if they understand that, and they understand that you're offering them something that can have the type of impact and elevate the outcomes and the parameters that are so critically important to them, it's pretty hard to say no. And you will never, ever feel uncomfortable offering them something which is so incredibly valuable to them. So think about it. If you're worried about being a pushy salesperson, stop feeling that way. Stop pushing. Start offering. Understand your value proposition. And approach your customers like you would approach a friend, with something that is going to improve their lives, improve their condition. That's a good thing to do. In fact, it's why you do what you do as a medical sales professional. And it's why I do what I do to help you out. This podcast and the Medical Sales Channel is brought to you by my online training platform, Medical Sales Academy. Check it out. Imagine having a clear strategy and plan for every sales call. Imagine knowing how to handle every customer objection. Imagine knowing how to advance the sale, to get the customer to take the next step. Imagine having a feeling of confidence every time that you approach a healthcare professional, so that you're never, ever intimidated. Imagine having a sales process. You don't have to imagine it, because I can teach you how to do that at your convenience with Medical Sales Academy. Enrollment opens only a few times during the year. You probably should check it out at medicalsalesacademy.com. Get on the list. We'll notify you when enrollment is open, and I strongly encourage you to take advantage of it if you really want to maximize your medical sales outcomes. Thanks for spending some time this week on the Medical Sales Guru podcast and the Medical Sales Channel. This is one of the combined episodes. And don't forget, my friends, that whatever you do in your medical sales career, the patient always comes first. Stay focused on the patient. Good things will happen for the patient, for your customers, and for you. For the Medical Sales Channel, Medical Sales Guru Podcast, this is Mace Haroff. I'll talk to you again soon.